All right, welcome to the first ever episode of the K&D Talk Show. You got Devontae here, and you got my friend Keenan. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit about me. I have a YouTube channel that's already up and known as Slushy Bear, which you guys can catch that live. And pretty much what we're here to do is talk about, news that are going on in the world, sports, and stuff like that. But enough of me. I'm gonna let my friend Keenan now introduce himself and tell you a little bit about him.
What is going on, guys? This is Keenan. Yeah, it's my first time doing here. I just started this. I recently got a YouTube channel. My friend, he inspired me to start one, and I think we're gonna take this pretty far. So,
all right. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and start with our first topic. And first episode, we plan on making it into 25 minutes because it's a talk show, like we said, and we got different topics. And the first topic we're gonna start off with is gonna be NFL. And the topic that we're gonna start off with is because it's my personal favorite team is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, and
which really sucks. Talk show.
Okay, now I believe my favorite team probably got more rings than your favorite team, but we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that just yet.
Okay.
But to start things off is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just got a big victory in today against the Kansas City Chiefs, mainly because this is them clinching their playoff spot for the first time in 2 years after going 8-8 both years. They are now 10-5 at the moment, with the chance to clinch the AFC North division next week. And really, I think this was just a really good game by the Pittsburgh Steelers all around, offensively, defensively. And, with that struggling defense, then again, they were going up against Kansas City's receivers who have yet to score a touchdown all year, which is pretty sad. So
it's very sad.
When you got, your leading receiver in touchdowns is your running back, you got a problem in your receiving core there. But I just think I should point that out. And I think that's a really good thing I should point out for the Pittsburgh Steelers fans. That's something they should really look forward to. Anything you'd like to add on to that?
Yeah, man. I really think that the Steelers have really improved over the last 2 years. Mike Tomlin has been building a very good program over the years since he's been there. I think second year he won Super Bowl, right?
That's right.
Big Ben is actually gonna be a future Hall of Fame, I believe. I'm gonna let you guys know some of the stats. Antonio Brown's been a very key role in the Pittsburgh's dominance this year. He has 1,498 receiving yards with 11 touchdowns, and Big Ben is almost on for 40 touchdowns. So, yes, the Steelers are playing very, very good football right now, and I can see them in the Super Bowl in February.
Also, what we'd like to also bring up is talking about playoffs. We would like to bring up some of our teams in the AFC that we think actually have a shot. With that being said, out of the teams we know that are guaranteed playoff spots, which are Pittsburgh, the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Bengals, I'm pretty sure can get a clinch in themselves.
Possibly Chargers too.
And possibly the Chargers after what was a great victory for them. But out of the AFC, which teams do you see that could make a push into the playoffs, that could make a run into the Super Bowl?
Personally, I have to go with New England, man. The Englands are complete. Tom Brady is showing that leadership like he's been doing for the last 15 years. Bill Belichick is a great coach. The defense is playing outstanding. We had a couple of key factors. Added Darrelle Revis, Brandon Browner. Patriots are playing dominant football. I could see them in February in the Super Bowl. What about you?
I could see them also because of how well-rounded they are. They have their offense, with Tom Brady, is always going to be good. He's making receivers out of people like Brandon LaFell. He's making something out of Danny Amendola whenever he gets the chance, and other receivers such as Julian Edelman, and with Rob Gronkowski, who I say is the best tight end in the NFL right now. It's really hard to stop that offense. But then you look at the defensive side of the ball, and you got Darrelle Revis, Brandon Browner, Dante Hightower. You got Devin McCoy. The defense is stacked. And I could see them making it into the playoffs. They already did. They got a first-round bye, actually. I could see them making it into February. I do. If Pittsburgh doesn't make it, that's what I'm pulling for. I like Darrelle Reeves at corner.
Right.
I personally think he's one of the better corners in the game. With that being said, now, who do you see as the underdog for the AFC playoffs?
The underdog for the AFC championships to go to the Super Bowl. I have to say, I'm going to say Pittsburgh. Why I say Pittsburgh? Because Pittsburgh has been, at 8-18 for like I say, for the last 2 years. Yeah. They're playing dominant football, like I say. That team there is just really complete. I mean, the defense is playing good, and also Le'Veon Bell is the best running back in the NFL right now. In the AFC, in the NFC, I have to go with DeMarco Murray. But between those two running backs, I like Le'Veon Bell a lot, and I can see him winning the Super Bowl this year. possibly if New England doesn't go.
Yeah, and for my underdog, if San Diego gets themselves a clinch, I could see them being something dangerous just because of, with Phillip Rivers and the fact that they were down 21-0 at halftime to come all the way back and win in overtime speaks wonders for how they work in clutch situations, which I think is something every team needs to have, is some type of motivation when things get rough and not just quit. And now we're going to move over to the NFC side with teams, which is actually very strange when you get into the NFC because there is actually a chance for a team with a losing record to make it into the playoffs because with the final week coming up, it's Panthers and Falcons to see who gets that final playoff spot for them to clinch their division and make it into the playoffs. But you also got teams like Green Bay who have clinched, Detroit who have clinched, and you got the Seahawks and Cardinals battling out tonight to see who will get their number one spot in their division. But out of the NFC, who do you see making it to the Super Bowl?
I see the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is a very outstanding quarterback. The guy's mobile. He's a pocket passer. He's leadership. He, is very communicating with his team. I was going to say overall, and the receivers are playing dominant football. The defense is playing at a very high level. They're getting to the quarterback. Clay Matthews is an outstanding linebacker, so I see the Packers in the Super Bowl.
I can see that too, and also I forgot to throw in, but the Cowboys are also playoff contenders, and that's why I think honestly, because the Cowboys are one of those teams that have yet to lose on the road, and when you can win consistently on the road, it's such a great thing. But with them winning the division, they're going to have a home game, but once they face the number 1 and 2 seeds, they're going to be on the road, and that's when that record's really going to take effect. So I can see the Cowboys running away with it. And honestly, if they can keep DeMarco Murray healthy, he just had surgery on a broken bone in his hand, but if they can keep that going, keep him running, keep feeding him the ball, and he high and tight so he doesn't fumble as much, I could really see the Cowboys being a dangerous threat with the offense they have.
Right.
And with those teams clinched, who's your underdog for the NFC?
My underdog, I would have to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. Lord. The Arizona Cardinals. It's a brain fart, guys. Brain fart. The Arizona Cardinals.
Hey, it's all about mistakes. All about mistakes.
That's right. Tyrann Mathieu is a very good defensive player. The offense is playing great. Who's the coach again? Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is a very good coach. I really believe that if Carson Palmer, was able to play, the Cardinals would actually win the Super Bowl because they're complete. So the Cardinals are my underdogs in this situation.
I can see that. My underdog is coming down to Week 17. If the Atlanta Falcons can beat the Panthers and get themselves at least one home game in the playoffs, they are a dangerous team offensively. I'm telling you, after watching that New Orleans Saints games, and I understand the Saints themselves have a losing record, but you got to understand they have Drew Brees at quarterback. Drew Brees is probably going down as a Hall of Fame quarterback, hands down. But that defense yet found a way to stop them to 14 points, I believe it was. And that defense scored a touchdown. They got interceptions against one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And then when you look at that offense, when you look at Matt Ryan and what he can do when he's performing at his top, and then you got Julio Jones as well. Julio Jones, I think, is another dominant, explosive receiver. And Julio Jones could really do something in there. You got Roddy White and Harry Douglas, who is really starting to come on as of late. And it's really something that offense is really something I think people should really take more notice in, because that offense, the running game, it's not at its best. It's not at its peak. It could use some work, but that passing attack is something I think is something very serious and something very dangerous. So that's my underdog. But as of right now, who's your 2 teams for the Super Bowl? Right now, who would you have to predict for 2 teams for the Super Bowl?
Since Week 1 in the early preseason, I have chosen Green Bay and New England, and I have New England winning it all.
I can see that. Me, as of right now, I can see New England. I'm going to have to go with New England. I'm a Pittsburgh fan, but I'm going to have to go with New England at this point until I see what Pittsburgh does in their first playoff game. I'm going New England. And coming out of NFC, that's a real tough battle. You got the Seahawks, you got Packers, you got Lions, but all that, I would have to say I'm going to have to go with the Detroit Lions. Lions, Patriots, and I'm going with the Lions simply because that defense is number 1 defense right now. And then when you look at the offense with Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, the running backs aren't the best either. But when you got Matthew Stafford that can just chuck the ball like it is nothing,
100 yards.
Yeah, he can just launch the ball. And when you got Calvin Johnson, really, he's one of the most uncoverable receivers out there. That's who I'm gonna have to pick as of right now. It's the Patriots and it is the Lions. But moving on to other further topics with the wrapping up from the NFL with our Super Bowl picks. Let's go into college football, and we can also talk about the college football playoffs, which we have, I believe, not the first game, but one of the first rounds is Alabama and Ohio State, and then Florida State versus Oregon. Who do you see and making some noise in the college football playoffs?
Like for the title game or just in general?
Just in general.
In general, I see Ohio State making some noise, and I also see Oregon on the other end. Let's start with Oregon, guys. Marcus Mariota, junior. He is playing best football he's ever played. He struggles against the big games, but I can see this guy pulling through and going to the national championship. And Ohio State on the other end, they are a very competitive team. Urban Meyer is an outstanding coach. He coached one of the greatest college quarterbacks in history, which is Tim Tebow at Florida, won 2 national championships. So I can see Ohio State and Oregon in the championship.
I could see that too. I see Oregon beating Florida State because I think a lot of people are overrating Florida State right now. Yeah, they've won games, but look who they've won against. They barely beat Boston College. They barely beat Notre Dame. And when you got Jameis Winston is throwing like 2-3 interceptions a game, and you cannot do that and expect to win against teams like Oregon, Alabama, and Florida State. It's not going to happen. I see Oregon winning that. And I see Alabama as a good team as well. Don't get me wrong. Alabama's always been a great team. But Blake Sims, and after I saw what Ohio State did against Wisconsin and Melvin Gordon, who is the best running back hands down in college football, and then Ohio State's doing this with a third-string quarterback. Out of all things, the third-string quarterback is lighting it up. It is ridiculous what they are doing right now. I see Ohio State and Oregon going into the national championship as well, and I can see Ohio State ultimately coming away with that one. That being said, we also – in the college football, we have other bowl games that are coming up, that are important.
Georgia and Louisville.
We have a Georgia fan actually right here, who and their team's going up against Louisville.
Right.
And then you have an Oklahoma Sooners fan here, which is actually they're going up against Clemson. So I think that should be a good game. But give us a preview of what you think the Georgia and Louisville game is going to be about.
Oh, it's going to be head busting, blood, sweat, and tears in this game. I'll tell you now, I see Georgia Bulldogs pulling away with this because that competition is there. You seen what they did when they played Auburn. They pretty much manhandled Auburn. Nick Marshall was shut down. I believe that final score was 38-7, if I'm not mistaken.
Around there, yeah.
We actually watched that game. I mean, a couple friends of him, and we was all shocked how Auburn got manhandled. So yes, I see Georgia's defense coming in, busting heads, and just blowing out Louisville by 20.
By 20. He's giving that a 20-game blowout for Georgia, which I think that should be interesting. Louisville's defense is no pushover. I like what I see in Chubbs. I think he's going to be a great replacement for Todd Gurley, who was probably one of the most dominant running backs in college football himself. But so 20-point spread. Do you have an idea? You want to give a prediction score? You want to give a score? Or are you just going to say 20 points blowout?
I'm just going to leave it at 20 points. Also I did a chart. What's called a bowl pick, and I put on 38 points on Georgia.
Oh, 38 points. That's one out there, and I could see it happening based on how Georgia plays. I'm gonna go ahead and give my preview of the Oklahoma and Clemson game. Being an Oklahoma fan, I think it's going to be a good game. As of right now, Oklahoma has not been playing up to the hype they should. They started the season ranked number 4, and now I believe they're unranked. Or they're just down there. But the fact that they lost to Oklahoma State, they lost to TCU in a close one. They should not be losing to these teams when they had at the beginning of the year one of the best defenses in the Big 12. But when Trevor Knight went down, and I was not a huge Trevor Knight fan myself. I did thought sometimes he would cost the games with some of his throws and bad decision making. But when that second string quarterback came in, you could tell by how they just ran. P. Ryan, that they did not have faith in that quarterback at all because they were constantly giving him the ball, and on third down situations, they would still run the ball in its obvious passing situations. They were not trusting that quarterback. But with Trevor Knight back against Clemson, and Clemson's pass rush is incredible, but with the footwork of Trevor Knight coming back and the way he can just escape pressure, I think it will be a good one. I think the game should be close because Clemson's quarterback is not all that, and I think their better quarterback is actually injured right now.
Yes, quarterback is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson.
He's a freshman, a true freshman. At that, speaking of Deshaun Watson, Devontae, I noticed that kid is a phenomenal quarterback. Yeah. I actually watched him play in high school. Played against one of the local teams in the area in the playoffs about 2 years ago. Unfortunately, lost, but Deshaun Watson is one heck of an athlete. Yeah, and I can see him in the future winning the Heisman.
He's a great quarterback, and that's why I think that's a huge blow to Clemson and them losing him in this game. I do still think that the way Sooners have been playing, they do not come away with this one. I do think a 10-point game, I could see this going down to – well, actually, it could be a 7-point game. But as of right now, I'm giving a 24-10 win to Clemson as of right now. I know I shouldn't be saying that as Sooner fans. I know you Sooner fans are probably disappointed in that, but I have no reason to believe. I have no reason to think they are going to do something after the way they played against Oklahoma State, TCU, Kansas State, all these teams they should have beat. I just don't see it happening. But that's what I got in my college playoff games. You got Keenan's with he actually said 38 in his first one, but this one he's saying 20. So, I mean, these are all games you should really watch out for. I know the Sooners game is actually on the 29th if you guys care to watch that. And, well, that's what we have for you guys for
college football.
Now, on to our third topic. If you guys, for our wrestling fans, such as, the WWE people out there, we're going to go into that topic now. I'm going to go ahead and let Keenan take over this wrestling topic. I'm going to let him start this one off.
Yes, guys. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been watching wrestling for over 10 years. I always been a big wrestling fan. John Cena, Randy Orton, Kane. But my favorite of all time, I like CM Punk. And I was going to say, I wish he was still there. But, you have to move on sometimes. But for the most part, right now, I see the future of the WWE. Honestly, I think Roman Reigns will be the future, guys. I mean, he is a heck of a wrestler, quick, smart, very aggressive, and that's what you need to be a good wrestler. Devontae, who is your favorite wrestler?
Honestly, I would have to say my favorite wrestler was CM Punk too, because he kept it real. He didn't beat around the bush. He told you exactly what was on his mind every time. And when he walked away, I think it was a big blow to the company. And, at the moment, honestly, which might be a shocker to some people, I like Seth Rollins right now. And I know, a lot of people saying he can't do his own battles with J&J Security. But, I mean, the fact is when he does get into matches, such as when he faced Dean Ambrose at Hell in a Cell before he was interrupted by Bray Wyatt, he was holding his own. When he was in that not TLC, but what was the pay-per-view? Not Survivor Series. It was TLC. Was it TLC when he faced Cena in the tables match?
TLC, right.
TLC. He was holding his own for a bit there. Roman Reigns came out and ruined that. And then even at Survivor Series, he was doing pretty good of holding his own before Sting came out and Dolph Ziggler had his big burst. I think, though, Seth Rollins, especially with the briefcase, he has yet to cash in. And I think he's just waiting for the perfect opportunity, which can come at any time. And I believe, and a lot of people, which I've heard this on numerous wrestling sites, is that the plan is for Brock Lesnar to keep the title until WrestleMania and lose it to Roman Reigns after Roman Reigns wins this year's Royal Rumble, which I think that's going to be a good pay-per-view we all should watch. And then Seth Rollins cashes the Money in the Bank, claims the Paul Heyman guy, and wins it. Now, how true is that? You can never know. Bearing injuries, anything could happen. But that's what we've been hearing most of all as of right now.
Yes, for you younger guys out there, teenagers, fifth graders, and so on, and huge John Cena fans. I was also, been looking at this might be John Cena's last run, at the WWE title. He's been wanting to move on to other things, but get back to now. That's later on. I could see John Cena beating Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. I don't know about my buddy here, but John Cena he's great.
I can see Cena winning it. I do, mainly because they pamper Cena so much in that business. They treat him like a god in that business. And it's right. He's a 15-time, 16-time WWE champion, and a lot of people look at that as, wow, he's great. He's won it 16 times. But you can also look at it as, wow, he lost it 16 times. Obviously, if he's a 16-time champion, he's lost it 16 times. He's lost 16 matches. I think that John Cena is good only because the WWE has turned him out to be good. You can't – every time there's a title shot of any kind, John Cena is always a part of it. There's never time he's not. He's always getting the matches he wants. He could easily, if he wanted to, he could run the WWE. If he asked Vince McMahon right now, hey, I'm going to quit unless you give me and put me in charge, they would do it just because that's how much they need him to win something and how much he means to that fan base. So I could see it happening just because how much everybody is pampered to him and all of that. But other than that, I don't see it happening. And what
we have to take a quick break, guys.
Yeah, matter of fact, we're probably just gonna wrap it up right there for today. We're gonna cut it short, but we have more stuff coming for you guys. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week. But we're gonna sign off now. So thanks for watching. Devontae here and Keenan there. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll have more stuff for you in the future. So take care. Anything you'd like to add real quick?
Yes, I hope y'all enjoyed the show, and we bring y'all plenty more.
All right.